Hey everybody, my name is Young Falcon and welcome to my first episode of the Retro Digital Future. This is something I've been chasing for quite some time. Essentially what we're trying to do is set up all my old consoles, the N64, Gamecube, Dreamcast, Microsoft Xbox, and of course the PS2, etc. and trying to get them to run digital backups of those games, whether it be a flashcart or an ODE method, and getting the best picture quality possible recorded for you guys over on twitch.tv and YouTube, as well as getting it to run on my CRT. It is a very laborious, kind of crazy process, but it's a dream of mine to be able to play on this big thing while streaming to you guys over on Twitch and whatnot, and just having a good old time, kind of really creating a comfy atmosphere. And I think I finally have a couple of things to help me take the first big leap over to that goal, and it's all thanks to Kaico Labs. Shoutouts to Kaico Labs for sending me the HDMI adapter for the Nintendo Gamecube and the N64 line doubler, which is going to go a long way in helping me build this setup. If you guys want to check out their products, as I highly recommend them, there'll be links down below in the description over at Amazon and whatnot for you guys to pick them up. But before you do that, let's hop into this review and see if it's even worth purchasing depending on the setup you have. Okay, so let's kick things off with the N64 line doubler versus a generic AV to HDMI upscaler. On the screen, you'll see the generic AV to HDMI upscaler going to 720p, and it's pretty rough. Rainbowing artifacts around 2D elements like text, and the visuals are beyond crunchy to the point you can count the individual pixels. And of course, on top of that, the colors are extremely washed out and the blacks are crushed to no end. It isn't really a great look through the capture card, and it looks somehow even worse on your monitor or TV screen. Don't be deceived by these low price alternatives you'll see on Amazon. They also add a ton of input lag to each game and don't really give an accurate representation of how these classic games can look on an HD TV. So now let's move over to the Kaico line doubler, and the difference is pretty much night and day. For starters, all the 2D elements and pictures look a lot more clear and easy to read. Still has a bit of blur, but that's mainly due to how the N64 hardware works. It's nothing too impactful on the game's quality. And speaking of which, it's pretty darn good. Visuals are sharp and clear and to the point, and the colors are basically pitch perfect. Heck, I'd even argue it looks slightly better than Nintendo emulation like the Wii U Virtual Console or the Wii, because the sharpness and fidelity is just very much more improved. Sadly, I don't have the best color output because I don't have the N64 RGB mod, because that cost a little bit, and also I don't feel like sending in this console I just got to get like RGB modded up. I don't really know like who to go for that at the moment, but hopefully down the line I could show you guys what it could look like with the perfect RGB color values and whatnot due to that mod. That being said, the line doubler does more than a good job of showcasing what the N64 could look like on modern televisions with an S-video style method instead of the traditional red, yellow, and white cables you're used to, so it overall has a very nice look to each game I threw at it. It also had a smoothing option which goes a long way in making these older 3D titles look a bit sharper to the eye, and once again is easygoing when you go to capture the device. Check this cable out if you need an easy plug and play method for the N64 and SNES especially. It's going to go a long way in your setup. Now we have the main course. It's the Gamecube, and first let's look at a game that runs in 480i Super Monkey Ball upscaled with the generic AV to HDMI cables, and once again it's yucky, it's rough, it really isn't that great. It's pretty much the same issues we had with the N64 with the text rainbowing everywhere and the washed out colors and an awfully stretched image that just doesn't look pleasant on the eyes at all. Avoid AV to HDMI generics with all of your might. Next up is the Kaico line doubler, and wow, what a nice upgrade from the AV to HDMI, right? Text is a lot more easy to read with barely any blur, and the colors definitely look a lot more accurate to how the game should look. My only gripe with it is the image can be a bit on the soft and blurry side due to it using an S-video style cable, but it's overall a nice look for the GameCube, and once again really gets the job done if you, for example, don't have a component output or just looking for something to capture your devices with. And lastly, we arrive at the GC HDMI adapter, and we just gotta sit down and take it all in. It's pretty much the best picture quality you're gonna get out of your GameCube next to using either a GC HDMI mod method or official component cables with the RetroTink 5X or paired with an upscaler of your choosing. That being said, it's still an incredible little device here. A sharp output on 3D images, removing that soft and blurry filter that's usually on composite signals, and the colors are a lot more vibrant than ever. All of the usual jaggies and interlace issues that Composite brings are pretty much smoothed out relatively well thanks to this HDMI adapter, and it includes a slew of customizable options like scanline settings, color options, RGB values, and a bunch of other stuff you can mess with inside the GC HDMI settings. You can tweak them all to your liking, save it as a profile, and then use it for various games as you go along, which is a very nice feature. But that's just one rare 480i game on GameCube. The real reason you grab any component device is to output to 480p, right? So let's bring it over to a game I have, Star Fox Assault, and as you can see, it is downright emulation quality. The colors are perfect, the input lag is not noticeable, and the visuals are razor sharp. It has no blurring or jaggies to be seen pretty much anywhere. It is a 10 out of 10 picture quality coming out of the GC HDMI dongle. It really is a stunning achievement as it outputs a very gorgeous signal and shows exactly what the GameCube should be outputting if you have the means or methods to get your picture to look this nice, and I gotta say, it is fantastic. Next, we have the Kaico line doubler, and pretty much the same issues as the monkey ball clip. It has a fair amount of bobbing and shimmering with a fairly blurry and soft picture, and for once the colors are a tad bit washed out compared to the GameCube HDMI adapter. Once again, still a great option if this is all you have, just a lot less impressive compared to the progressive scan upscaling that the HDMI adapter brings. And lastly, we have it. That's right, the AV to HDMI generic upscaler, and it's just awful. Beyond crushed blacks, terrible text rendering, the list goes on and on with all of the various issues you can see on screen, but to be honest, it just looks ugly, crushed, and not well received when you're outputting a capture card signal. It just looks very bad for YouTube in my opinion, and it also has a ton of input lag for some reason, so it's just a not really good device. I cannot stress enough why you should avoid this machine in particular. And here's a couple of B-roll shots I have, once again using the GameCube HDMI adapter. And as you can see, it's just our standout device. There's really not too much to say other than it really does a great job of enhancing your picture and giving you an awesome 480p upscale for a very low cost in all honesty compared to the other GameCube methods. The component cables themselves cost a bunch of money if you want to go on eBay and get official GameCube component cables, and there is a third-party one that Kaico has made that I'm also trying to get my hands on because I want to pair it with my upscaler and give you guys a comparison shots between the upscaler going at 1080p, upscaling that, versus say the 567p or 480p doubled, which the HDMI adapter dongle does. So hopefully we can get our hands on that in the near future and kind of give you guys some comparison shots between that. But overall, it is a standout device. That's what I'm getting at. It is very, very good, perfect for capturing it and recording it over to twitch.tv or whatever you may be doing. And it's also a great device for at-home usage, which I highly recommend using if it's something you want to add to your setup for ease of plug and play. Overall, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for coming out. Just wanted to showcase and compare and contrast the differences between all the different cables on the market and why I recommend these Kaico ones over pretty much everything else that I have. I do have a couple pound cables I should probably get my hands on and utilize too to kind of compare and contrast the two, but for the most part, I am all in on the Kaico train. I've been using their stuff for quite some time, and it was nice to reach out to them and have them come through for the video. So thank you guys once again for helping me create this, and for everyone at home, thank you so much for watching the video. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.